Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm great. I'm actually, do you know, I've had the best sleep. It may sound funny, but I've had a brilliant sleep. I went to bed late last night and I woke up at 4 this morning. That's a good sleep. But I feel a bit refreshed today.
Yeah, four's a little bit early in devices.
Yeah, and I was out doing, showing the troops that I can still do my work. I was out at 8 o'clock in my first job, letting the troops know I was there. Lead by example.
Our brigade is getting together because we say good morning to John. Morning, John.
Morning, Pete.
Morning, John.
Turning the volume off on my phone.
Okay.
Right, say good morning to Chris.
Okay. Just to let you know, this background is a pub called McNasty's that I sing in. Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
But that's how it is today. Well, that's how it'll look today. Well, it'll be different actually. But it's a shame because Aberdeen's still in lockdown. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the latest news?
Well, the latest news is it's actually become not a horrible city, but there's one publican who's really getting a roasting for it because his place was jam-packed, right? And I can understand him wanting people in his pub. Okay, they were crowded, they were youngsters, fair enough. But here's the position. That pub I was into, this pub behind me, this guy was extremely careful. And then one day a guy phoned on a Sunday and said, by the way, I was at the pub that got it, the virus, and I visited your pub as well. Enough to shut him down.
Yeah.
So it could all be great. It could all get sorted out. And then what happens? Somebody walks in, goes home and say, oh, by the way, I was at your pub on Saturday. And the bad news is I've picked up a virus from somewhere, but I know I was in your pub. They'd have to shut down. And then that could happen 2 weeks after that. And it could happen 2 weeks after that. And it could happen 2 weeks after that. Well, I go on and on and on. You know the score. So Aberdeen, in fact, I was in Aberdeen yesterday. You either love the SNP or you hate the SNP. And the city council seemingly were ready to rebel and say we're opening up. But now they've pulled that statement and they said we'll go to the government's. It's like a leper city.
Yeah, because Leicester's coming out of lockdown, isn't it?
How long is Aberdeen going to be in lockdown, Peter? It's been there for...
We can't hear you, Stephen. Your volume is low.
Oh.
Sorry, good morning anyway.
Good morning. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? That's John Evangelist. Can you hear me now?
Can you? What type of mic is it?
Chris, can you hear Stephen?
Oh, hello.
Because if we
can you hear me now?
We can now, yes.
I'll restart.
You're still very quiet, but we can hear you.
Yeah.
He's gone.
I'll just be.
Hopefully you'll be back. Hopefully you'll be back.
Yeah.
Right, now this has got to be the headline of the week, which is why I'm going to show it. So from the top, welcome to the show. Blabbing for Britain, episode 240, heading towards the 250. Only 10 to go. We'll do that this year.
And I'm still here.
And my heading of the week. People are starting to keep hens. The chicken rehoming charity gets 52,000 lockdown hen requests. So we're becoming a nation not just of allotmenteers and gardeners, but a nation of hen keepers. And I'm all in favour of that.
Yeah.
Really.
We had 6 delivered to one of our allotment holders last week from the Chicken Rehoming Society. When you looked at them, you wanted to cry. They were a real mess.
Yeah. But if you look again in a couple of months'
2 months' time, they should be a lot better.
Yeah.
So here's the thing: does a chicken get to know you, and do you get to know the chicken or the hen?
Very good question.
Chicken gets to know your legs.
Yeah.
Right.
They don't look up at you. You've got to bend down for the chicken to see you. So they know your legs quite well, and they're quite fascinating.
When people approach the pen, they know which is the one that feeds them.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. It's quite interesting, that, is it?
Legs and shoes. I mean, they have a field day when you're wearing shorts because they've never seen your legs before, and they try pecking, which is their way of finding out. Stephen's on his way back.
Is that better? Is that better?
That's better. Yeah.
Oh, good.
A wee bit.
Okay, is that better,
anyway.
Peter? All the way up in Aberdeen. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we can hear you, but what I would suggest when we leave the show to really work at it.
I will indeed.
Say good morning to Fons. And Chris is there.
50%.
Sorry?
I said it's Mr. 50%.
Could you explain?
Oh, come on. Look at his photo. He's got 50% sticking out of his head.
All right, okay.
All good. All right, so what's going on apart from chicken?
I've got a cockerel next to me. A cockerel. Bloody 6 in the morning I hear it.
Well, it's probably not allowed by your council.
No, it's a farm further along. It's not in a house.
It's a farm, I don't think you can do much about it.
We have a Yappy dog next door, and it's like occasionally, very, very regularly, 24 hours a day. So 2 in the morning, ruff, 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 4 o'clock in the morning. It's an absolute bleeding pain.
No, I got up this morning with 2 dogs. They know to ignore me now. They know they're getting nothing. And I just go in, get my coffee on, shut the door and leave them. And they've now saying no point looking at him because he gives us nothing at that time. And then when they just hear Sheila getting up, all they hear is a board creaking and they're both at the gate. Great.
Chickens, they know who feeds them. And over to Fons. And Fons is saying, I've had many nicknames, some I can't repeat, but I do like Mr. 50%. There you are, John.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Rent-A-Cal used to have a Mr. 20% because he grew the business by 20% every year.
Right.
He was the darling of the city. And then he wasn't the darling of the city because he got involved with that hampers where you pay up all year and then they went bust. He wasn't a darling then.
He is the most, or Rent-A-Cal are the big beast, aren't they? They really are in the industry.
Yeah.
Say good morning to Tish.
Pat, my mate Pat, just sort of, how much do you pay now? And then they laugh when he says how much he costs, and he just takes the deal.
I don't like that. Hang on.
Well, in my area, they're $240 for a wasp nest.
How much? Oh, they are.
£240.
They are.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a minimum price.
That is shocking.
Yeah. So that's when people say to me, "Oh, bit expenses. I've got to Rent-A-Cal, put in your postcode, come back and phone me." And a couple have. They've said, "Oh, I see what you mean. When can you come?" Anyway, back to Stephen. What's the agenda?
Done chickens. Right. Okay. Mr. Williamson Should he stay or should he go?
Straight to jail. I've lost it.
I think both.
Just before we came on, there was a breaking news on the BBC to say that GCSE passes are up by 79% now, as opposed to 70% following the alterations that have been made.
Are you talking about
Well,
grade
this be a lesson
inflation?
to your kids. Yeah.
That's how have they managed to get grade inflation in 1 year of nearly 80%? I don't understand.
Because it's now in a teacher's grading, and some teachers will be saying, I'll help you in life. That's a good grade. That's what I reckon's happening.
Well,
And hey, it's not just in England. Scotland was a disaster too. John Swinney has been nothing but trouble for the government. He could never get anything right.
My would-have-been daughter-in-law, had their wedding not been postponed, she teaches law at A-level and BTEC, and she was quite harsh on her pupils. So some of them did not do as well as they expected based on her marks, because she said they didn't work during the year. They would have done all right in the exams,
Yes,
but didn't work during the year.
that's the way to do it.
It's her reputation on the line, and she ain't cheating for anybody.
That's just what my cousin, when he was a teacher, would have done. He would have brought a kid in and said, it's payback time. Remember you playing around at school? You failed.
We're so glad that's not the norm. I mean, the whole system's flawed from the get-go when they decided to bring in the algorithm, the infamous algorithm. Algorithm will never again have a good word to be said about it, because it's left everything up royally by downgrading people and caused chaos for the second week.
And BTEC students are not getting their results when they should have got their results.
They were pulled last night, weren't they? Hours before the due to be released.
Had the balls to say, stop. Yeah, we're gonna make you wait an extra 48 hours, but we aren't going to raise your hopes, change your hopes, etc. We're going to do it properly, which in my view is probably a good thing.
If I'd been a teacher, they would have come up and said, Mr. Stewart, why didn't I get a good grade? He said, because you're thick.
I don't think you would have been a teacher for very long, Peter. It doesn't work like that.
I like that. Can we have that as the motto for the?
I'll do an outtake of it.
Today's teachers are assessed on how they improve the pupil. Yeah.
Yeah.
And saying you're thick ain't any way of improving a pupil, is it?
Don't expect him to reply to that, John, for goodness sake.
You know, my cousin, he's retired now, so I can do that. Big guy, really big. Kids used to want to fight him and everything. But he loved parents' night, because little Johnny, we'll call him little Johnny's mum and dad would come in and say, hello, Johnny's mum, hello, Johnny's dad. And Johnny would be sitting there and he said, this is Johnny's last year, and I'm so glad to get rid of him. He's probably the worst pupil I've ever had. And he would look at Johnny's face and he would go, because Johnny used to get in his nerves. That was great. I loved that.
In 1964, I went to Dunfermline, right, age 4 years old. Yeah. And I went to St. Margaret's School in Dunfermline, in the juniors. And it was basically a complete indictment, that's the wrong word, isn't it, of the Scottish educational system, which can only be described as barbaric. And I was there for 5 years. So I think I went to the first year of junior school, which was like barbarism on steroids. the worst experience of my wee young life. And I just, it strikes me that what you're saying, Peter, is kind of, it's still there. Because just for little Johnny to be told, it's always like a Billy Connolly sketch, isn't it? You know, where the Archbishop comes along and, how are you, Mr. Connolly, and all this stuff. And I hope it's not like that, Peter. I really do. I hope you're taking the mick, because it was.
Yeah, I think
therefore rubbish. And that bloke who may have said to little Johnny, "You're thick" or whatever, he's the problem, not little Johnny. Yeah, fair enough.
The thing is, if you've watched this, you should know my sense of humour by now. I was joking. I'm a member. Oh, by the way, I'm a member of the Free Speech Union now. I don't know if you know about that, do you?
All right, go on then.
No, but the good news is that you can have your free speech. And my mum's on the phone. I'll be back in a minute.
Okay. So the free speech was set up by Toby Young, and I know a friend of mine in Aberdeen was heavily involved. And if there's one thing I like in life, it's the freedom to speak your mind. So a guy set up a charity in Manchester. He got an MBE or an OBE or something. He said something. He was cancelled out. The board sacked him, got rid of him. The Free Speech Union took his case on. He won. And part of the winning was all the board had to resign, and he put a new board in. And whether you're left, right, or centre, gay, lesbian, whatever, anything, they will look at your case and help you for the free speech. Now, in Scotland at the moment, I don't know if you know or are aware of this, you need to look it up. Scotland has come out with something about speech that may be seen as hate or anything like that. J.K. Rowling, other famous writers, famous people in Scotland, England, are now backing through the Free Speech Union, because they can say anything that you write or put in a leaflet may be seen as incitement to hate or anything like that, and they're going to do you. So Scotland's speech is being curtailed at the moment. So that's why I joined the Free Speech Union, because people were losing their jobs, until the Free Speech Union backed them and they won. So have a look at the Free Speech Union. It's trying to stop all the cancellations that are happening and people don't even know. So I joined. I think it cost me £45 a year or something like that. Wear a badge. And I don't care who you are, you have got the right to free speech.
Totally. I agree. Right. That's not what I meant. That's what I meant to do. Right, Stephen, I'm going to switch your microphone on, but I'm getting an echo. Can anybody else get an echo?
No.
Can you say something, Stephen? Can't hear it.
I can hear the echo now.
Yeah.
Everybody's echoing.
Everybody's got an echo. This is fun. Apart from Stephen, it's quiet. Just a minute. See if we can hear it. How are we now?
You're not echoing.
Okay.
I'm not echoing now.
No, neither is Peter.
Stephen, can you refresh, please? Testing.
Right. No problem. Yeah.
I'm going to take Stephen out of the equation and he's going to come back. Okay, yeah, there's obviously from Stoke, there's some disturbance coming in from Stoke, which is so apologies for that.
Now, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Has anybody seen Rodney?
Well, I tried to find this video you said you'd put up, but I can't find it.
Well, if you go into my Facebook page, I actually had it up on iPad, right? and it is so funny. It's two like hillbilly girls, and you would have to see it. But the famous bit in it is they're looking for this guy Rodney, who broke a little cat statue, run off with her money, and the woman said, "Rodney, you broke her heart, but I'm going to break your jaw." And it's went all over the world. You'll see it in my Facebook.
Devisers calling Stoke. Stoke,
Hello,
come in,
hello,
please.
hello.
Ah, echo free now.
Hello,
Yeah.
hello.
Don't. No, we had enough echoes a moment ago.
Self-imposed echoing.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Do we know anything about Belarus?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Has he resigned yet?
People,
Oh, no, he's still hanging on in there.
Right. What's the
looks
backstory?
like there's a dictator there who won't go.
Aren't the Russians
So
on
the
the way?
people are rebelling.
Help.
Well, he said the Russians were on the border. Russian
Right.
troops.
Do you remember Ceausescu in the 80s? The dictator of Romania?
Yes.
And do you remember him standing up and,
Yeah.
on top of the Kremlin type thing? Hello, my friends, hello. And they all booed him.
Yeah.
About 1 million of them or something like that. And he sort of went, what the and then within 24 hours he was dead.
Yeah.
Executed by the
And you know why they done that? Seemingly, they turned their satellites and they could start seeing the Western programs and they could get the news and everything, they seen what was happening. And because it was Christmas Day that happened, Christmas Day, and I remember watching it. And you seen the Securitati was his people. And it's funny, I've met some Romanians in Aberdeen and I can tell which side they were on. As a tailor in Aberdeen, and I mentioned the Securitati. What about them? Good people. Ceausescu was good man. Good man. And then I meet other people say, bad man. So it just shows you, is it?
Yeah.
But yeah.
We've got
It's
connection Romanians. We've got 3 Romanian families on our allotments. They're probably the hardest working people on the entire allotments.
yeah. And what he used to do with the minorities, the what we would call travellers, or some people would call gypsies, a woman that used to work for the government, I met her through Toastmaster, she was saying they used to be put to an area and they were told, you're not, as is Ceausescu's time, and you were told, you're not leaving this area. And the police used to guard it, and they weren't allowed out. So there you go. And did you know why a lot of Romanians look like Indians? Because they were some of them were originally from India. You know, these people that play the accordions and everything you usually see in town centres. So that's why they've got an Indian population. Did you know that?
No, we didn't, Ken.
Do you know that's your most said phrase? Did you know that, Peter?
Yeah, I know that. I've got another one.
Total change of topic.
Do you like that?
What do we know about QAnon? Or should we even discuss it?
No, don't. Peter will just have a heart attack again. Don't.
Well, it's QAnon is to be spoken about. And I know that one guy's leaving a certain platform and changing his name seemingly. And it's supposed to be somebody in military intelligence leaking stuff before it happens or giving a clue to what's going to happen. But I don't think we should speak about that subject.
Good. Invoking your free rights to speech. Nice.
That's why I didn't put it on screen. I thought I'd take a ask first. Okay.
Yeah.
There's the House of Lords has refused to move to York. I'd move to York tomorrow. Well,
It's not the House of Lords, though, is it? It's the committee responsible for the rebuilding of the House of Lords that's turned down looking at it as part of its remit. They say that the House of Lords and the MPs have got to make their own decision if they want to move out of a building.
Well,
I think it's a good idea to share it about the country.
Personally, I think they should take 2 big halls at the NEC and stick the Houses of Parliament one and the House of Lords in the other. Right in the middle of the country, next to an airport, next to a railway station, next to a motorway.
Yeah, fine by me. Or York, or Leeds, or Newcastle, or anywhere in the bloody country.
Yeah, share it about a bit.
And abolish the House of Lords. Oh, that went down well.
What's that, a money-saving opportunity by banishing the House of Lords?
No, just get rid of them. They're bloody useless. Corrupt as hell. Free speech? Go on, Pete.
There are levels of corruptness.
No, there aren't. It's a binary thing. You either are
It's an awful large number of London residents, Lords, that go in, sign in, collect their lunch funds and their attendance fee, and then bugger off back home.
That's corruption.
That happened in Europe as well until somebody started filming them saying, "You've just went there and signed it. Where are you going now?" And then they would turn back because they were jumping on the train to go home again for a weekend and things like
But
that.
luckily, we haven't got to worry about that
quite
much
funny.
longer because of Pete.
No, yeah, that's right. So now here's a question. Maybe, do you think? Did you know that Britain only got 9% of its own fishing grounds at the moment with the European Union? I think it's 9% or 6%. Did you know that?
Let's take it we don't, Pete. So what are you going to do about it?
Right. So this is what the French are demanding. Why are the French demanding, or the Europeans demanding, more shares of their water, our water? What's that about? That's the biggest stumbling block, actually.
It's because that's what they've been enjoying for the last, I don't know. When did we join the common market as it was?
72.
Yeah. So all of a sudden, Britain's going to say, yeah.
Oh, I was 18 in
money.
1972.
But I didn't realise it was as little as that we got back to the fishing grounds.
72. Phew.
That's interesting.
18, 16? Who knows? Can't even work it out for myself.
Say good morning to Brenda. And Brenda,
Not
welcome.
watching that subject, guys.
Well, we don't know the answer.
And they've got double.
We don't know.
They've got double trawler and harvest all the fish. If I was in charge of that negotiations, I'd go in with a packet of Weetabix in front of them and go, remember that advert, the Weetabix advert? And I'd say, no, Mr. Juncker, I've had my Weetabix. What are you going to be doing today?
Coming up some great jest. Have you seen the new Weetabix advert? Where you now eat your
remind me.
Jam, peaches, and a whole variety of other items.
It's all about ratios.
I just can't.
So if you had a billion for the Weetabix, then some salad with it or fruit with it.
Weetabix, they're the most revolting thing on the face of the earth, aren't they?
Yeah, it's awful. I mean,
well, can I tell you my best advert ever?
Well,
my best advert ever.
It's £87 a mention, remember, Peter? You don't want this going out for free.
Go on, Peter, go. Let's have a...
Well, my best advert was a Weetabix. You'll maybe remember Robin Hood, riding through the glen. Robin Hood, with his band of men. And I can't remember the rest of it, but...
Oh, that's ready breath, not Weetabix.
Of course he should, because the sheriff of Nottingham was sitting eating with the... Should he return back to the wood? Of course he should. Of course he should. Have you had your Weetabix?
Yes,
I love that advert.
Corinda,
So,
it isn't just you that hates Weetabix. It's 99.8% of the UK population.
Well,
Really?
who's buying it then?
Weetabix.
It's like eating cardboard, shredded cardboard put back together. And what
Well,
was
if
it?
you get it from the likes of Lidl's and that.
Shredded wheat, wasn't it?
shredded wheat was marginally better than.
Oh,
He's had his third shredded wheat.
I don't have any carbs now. Well, hardly get any carbs.
Oh.
So Alexa
What's
those Weetabix and shredded wheats and that, I don't have them.
Carbs.
Have a quick mention from the good friend Paul Sheldon, amazing graphic designer of the local area, and that's 87 quid, Paul. All right. And he always,
I have to agree with Paul Sheldon. If any advert was ever the best, it was the Smash Robots.
and then
Did you like them?
a bit.
Or mash, get smashed.
We did some Tesco online shopping back in the beginning of the old world, and we asked for some potatoes, and instead of potatoes, we got 4 cans of Smash. You know, the original Cadbury Smash. And so,
Hey, you can still buy Smash in a can.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was in a tub thing, and sort of this potatoes or Smash, and we hadn't had Smash for 40-50 years, and it was lovely, you know, taking back to 1960s and 70s.
I can remember my daughter, who's heading for 29, demanding Smash for her tea. I want Smash tonight. I want Smash tonight.
Do you remember
Well,
those curries?
how's another thing?
Do you remember the curries?
I was down there.
Go on, Pete.
Vesta curry.
No, so I was down in the
Vesta prawn curry.
Vista. That's
know what?
exactly what I was going to say.
Make a comeback, Vesta prawn curry.
Oh, I'm having
They
one of
got
them.
it in Lidl, would you believe?
The curly
They've actually,
noodles.
but I think it's stepping
curly
up.
noodles.
Vesta chairman. Over to Ricky while we take a short break. And all right, okay, and we get a completion of the verse, Peter. Feared by bad, loved by the good, Robin Hood. Okay, so we're taking everybody back in time through advertising and also
Half-Life to follow the bear. Yes.
I don't know.
okay.
I'll tell you what. Do you remember the government films? No, I can't help myself. But if I'm watching someone parking, no. If I'm watching somebody parking, I watch them for a while, and when they eventually do it, I say, "Well done, Reginald." Remember Reginald, my husband? And everybody used to clap when he done. Or I say to people, "You're not Reginald, my husband, are you?" And
what's the one with
my
Joe
guys used to get
Leonard Rossiter, Martini,
aye,
Shinzano.
Cinzano.
Was it
Getting your head back, sweetie.
Shinzano? I think. But, it's funny. It's funny how adverts stick out, isn't it?
Oh God,
What was her name? The woman?
Joan Collins.
Joan Collins, yeah.
Yeah.
It was. Indeed. Okay. I'm just trying to. Oh right. Okay.
Stop.
And I just like to put it on record that Apple say thank you to Stephen for helping them to reach the valuation of 2 trillion. And is it right? It's only a couple of years ago it was 1 trillion.
Yeah.
The acceleration is just incredible.
It's just immense.
It's all going to fall apart though when Trump bans anything made in China.
Well,
Well,
luckily, we won't be around to do that
China.
in today's time, but yeah. I mean, can it go how much higher can it go?
Well, it can own the world eventually. That's the highest it could go.
So what's global GDP? Is it something like 300 trillion, 400 trillion, 500 trillion? I'll ask.
I fear that some of these companies are going to be declared monopolies and going to have to split up in some way.
How though?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
By an executive order.
businesses. So you could split Apple up because you've got a service business, yeah, and you've got a manufacturing business.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, they've not managed this. They've managed to do this because they are just so good.
It's a matter of opinion. I think it's overpriced rubbish, personally, but
I just wanted to raise my hands against my backdrop. They've earned it.
Are you still using this prototype version?
Yeah, I've switched back to the prototype version. Everything's stable now. Look at that. Peter's similar as well.
Give it a try then, so that you can not
PTR.
see. If I go one way, it doesn't appear, but if I go the other way, it does appear.
Well, the two golden rules: don't move and have a green screen.
And get deco.
I don't have deco. I've got a wire. Yeah, I'm now touching my router. Yeah, I don't need deco at all.
I
I'm
think
just
deco's
typing
actually
something
there.
into your chat, and I can't work out what it bloody means.
Smart Time
I'm
Weekly.
getting echo.
That's Corinda by another name.
Can you see, Stephen?
Oh, 5G.
5G Samsung. The only problem I've got with it is there's no bleeding 5G where I live.
We can't even get 3G. What are you on about?
I think that the total GDP of the planet is $87,265 trillion.
So they've got a way to go yet.
But I didn't realise that the planet was doing that amount. That's right, isn't it? 80.
See these guys that own this businesses with all that money. I wonder what gets them up in the morning. And they've got all that.
Good question.
What would you do?
How much is who's the new Tim Cook? How much is he worth? Because they've just met. How much is Tim Cook worth?
A lot.
And so let's
Finally
see.
became a billionaire, didn't he, the other week?
He is currently worth $1 billion.
Yeah, only happened recently, though.
Yeah.
He had some share options to kick in. So he had ownership of them because they kicked in. And
But
then
no-
went through the $1 billion mark. I've got two
$1
questions.
billion.
But-
Why is Claire in Suffolk?
But it can take one thing to destroy a company. You know,
Wow.
that's the problem. It could go wrong. Airbnb is actually dropped by half.
Yeah, of course it has.
Their
Because
turnover
it's a
dropped by half.
people-centric business, isn't it? I've got a room. You want to buy it, rent it, cool. But technology companies have made an absolute fortune out of the pandemic. We've done okay.
Yeah.
Zoom.
And I guess Stephen and John have done okay out of this, actually.
I'll tell you, I'm doing okay, but I'm doing okay with job work. I've had about 3 customers shut down recently, and it's really getting scary because once the summer's over, it might not be so good for me. So I've got to look at it,
I've had one customer going under, and the rest are all coming back, thank goodness.
Well, I only have a handful of customers, and all but one of them closed down. And there's still one of them that's not gone back, but the rest are all back. I mean, I've probably got 7 customers, 8 customers. It's all I need to survive. Yeah.
Oh, what's his name? The Amazon's the biggest.
Mr. Bezos.
Bezos.
Richest man in the world, isn't he?
Is he? It is him, is it? Because I know that. Who's the biggest investor?
Buffett.
Yeah, he owns 25% of Apple.
Excuse me, what is he here? All right, hold on.
Is that you there, Jimmy? Bezos' net worth is.
So Peter's gone silent. No.
Jeff Bezos.
Are you in the lagoon, Stephen?
With me?
No.
I'm enjoying a beautifully sunny day, and the only way I could show it was to actually show this wonderful backdrop. I don't know where.
Venice,
isn't it? Isn't that Venice?
Don't think so. I don't know.
Looks like
There you are.
Venice to me, because you
Okay.
can see the edge of the lagoon going all the way around in the background.
I love Venice. I love Venice. Jeff Bezos, how much is he worth as of today?
18.9 billion.
Try again. It's quiz time.
Higher or lower? It's a lot.
Don't look up, Stephen. Just off your head. Oh, he's gone. He's gone. Oh, he's back. I'll put you out of your misery. $195 billion.
Well, it's only 10 times what I said. Who's bitchy? We all remember Gerald Ratner. My wife worked for Gerald Ratner when he did his bitch thing.
Yeah, that was how not to do it.
Yeah, my wife said it was the most honest thing he'd ever said. She worked for Ratner's, and it's some people who took it over and all that for years.
You know, just a neighbour, he's got a wasp nest, but he's actually a train driver from Aberdeen. And when the train crash came, I thought, gee, I hope it's not him. And but he was just telling me the only trains out of Aberdeen are north now, up to Inverness and Inverurie. That's it. And the rest of people will be for ages going down to Dundee. But if you've never been on that line before, it's right next to the coast. And there's valleys where you can't get a phone signal or anything. That's where they crashed. And an off-duty train guard, a woman, she had to get out and walk for miles to go to a phone to phone the train station.
She went to a signal phone, didn't she? And spoke to the signal box.
Yeah.
She should get an award for that.
Yeah. And
trains and train drivers. Have you heard of the Dalesman, which is the York to Carlisle via the Ribble Valley? You know, where they got the giant bridge?
It's called an aqueduct, John.
Sorry?
It's called an aqueduct.
An aqueduct, is it? I thought it was a viaduct, but anyway, it doesn't really matter whatever it is. There's a big bridge, and the Dalesman is a twice-a-day train from Yorkshire to Carlisle and back twice a day. And it's steam engine driven with a standby diesel on the back. Sadly, on Tuesday, the fireman stoking the fire in the cab collapsed and died whilst the train was in motion.
Whoa.
So they had to go to the nearest road that they could find. Fortunately, they were able to call an ambulance, but he was declared dead by the ambulance crew.
Mm-hmm.
The only really good thing, as his relatives have said, is he died doing something he loved.
Yeah.
But he wasn't a particularly...
In fact,
what did you just say?
One of my ex-employees died the other week, and we once went to, have you heard of the Royal Deeside Railway line that went up to Ballater? It's now a bike path and walking path. And so they've still got the old train station there and things and bits. And we went to a guy who is a well-known jewellery man, you know, and Bert was with me. And we got to, he says, what's an old railway station? And Bert said to him, "Did you know I used to shovel the coal on this line up?" And the guy, "You're joking." His name's Appleby. "You're joking." Oh, and this guy was, he says, "I must get you to sign this book and everything." And it was great. So Bert and him were talking about it, you know. He used to shovel a coal in Aberdeen on the railway line. Amazing.
I've got,
They're even talking.
as you may be aware, I've got a stew up in Glasgow at the moment, and I was there a couple of weekends ago, and it was sunny, Peter. Sunny. Absolutely bloody gorgeous, marvellous. But she was due back on the train on Sunday, but they, of course, put all the engineering works on a Sunday as ever. So her train's cancelled along with her seat. So we've taken a refund, and I'm going to bob up there and bring her back because I don't trust railways. I don't know how busy they are. I hear that they're sort of 25% busy, but I just can't take the risk. So I'll pop up and get her and bring her back home.
Everything's empty. The bus passes my house and it's empty.
We have
Absolutely empty.
a small bus that passes our house, the number 58, and if there's more than 2 people on it, I think they'd probably hold a party. I don't even know why they bother running it.
I just don't. I don't. Do you know there was a talk today about? I was listening to the radio today about this virus. I think I've probably had it in the past, and because so weak and tired, and this is one of the long chronic term effects of it. Were you aware of that? That I can't get a test to see if I've had it.
Well, they're ramping up testing again. They're going to try to get 150,000 people a week. So it's a week.
That sounds like a good idea. They've not done that like 6 months ago.
We're now starting. I mean, they're rolling out home testing as well, are they not? Where the kit gets sent to your home and you take the test and then send it back.
That's what they did about 6 months ago, apparently.
Right, okay.
But how's the thing, guys? Would you like to know if you've had it in the past and you've got antibodies?
Of course I would. Remember, I was in Venice, which is behind Stephen's shoulder at the time.
That seems...
Literally.
You need an antibody test for that, don't you?
Possibly,
no, different tests, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm gonna. But we're not getting them in Scotland. They were going to be doing them, but they were banned.
Because you're Scottish, mate.
Phil's tested regular because he works in a home. But, you know,
yeah.
I might say an old people's home, but I might get hit for that words. So,
seniors. We're seniors, you know.
It's called senior living.
Ah, yes. We're senior, mate.
So does Phil, would be able to tell Phil if he'd had it in the past?
I don't think it's an antibody test, or antibodies test, which is what tells you if you had it in the past. I think it's just a have you got it now type, or is it on its way to developing type thing. Well, that's for an American corporation, so things like that just get done. I mean, they had no PPE issues whatsoever, but other places in Solihull couldn't get PPE for love and the money.
Right. Okay. And
but that's what happened in Aberdeen. Yeah.
Nice has just made masks compulsory throughout the city, anywhere outside.
Ooh.
So, I mean, the thing is, all the 160,000 Brits who are on holiday who had to come back last weekend.
Oh, from the France lockdown. Is that what you're saying? What you're on about?
Yeah.
Well, why is it just in the Riviera? Why is it just in Nice? What's wrong? Is that because that's where
because the number of cases is rising there.
Each city can decide its own rules. So Nice has decided that everybody wears a mask everywhere.
Oh.
At least you can
Right.
still go somewhere. Whereas if you live in certain cities in Australia, not allowed out the house unless you've got something specific to do. So,
And New Zealand
okay.
shut down again.
I haven't got it on the menu, but can we talk about the self-driving cars next year on the motorways?
Is it being organised by our government?
yeah,
I know.
If it is, it'll have a 2-year delay, won't it?
I
It'll
seen
only
a
be if you
picture of
let
some,
taxi.
I think it was people were in their self-driving car and they were both asleep because one like a man and wife and the car was driving, they were sound asleep. Scary stuff.
Should we have prediction time? It'll never happen in the UK.
I think it will
That's what
someday.
they said about Mr. Trump.
Oh no, don't start that one, Peter. Please don't start that one.
We've had a Trumpless broadcast so far.
Let's keep it that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Anything that's done by the government isn't going to be done by a deadline. And if it's not done by a deadline, it's not their fault. It's somebody else's fault. Which brings us to Public Health England.
Ooh, controversy here.
Yeah. I mean,
And have you seen who's going to head it up?
It's moving the deck chairs on the Titanic.
Have you seen who's going to head it up?
Oh yes. Yeah. Who's she related to?
It's Nora. Oh, I don't know. I don't know about that bit, but you remember her from the Talk fiasco. She was chief exec of Talk when it was found out that they had, let's say, insufficient security on their service.
Right.
That's when they lost me. But she is absolutely, well, she's like Cummings, absolutely bloody awful person. Hello.
Yeah.
So are you gonna do a self-driving will be an essential requirement for flying cars? Yeah, good point.
Mm. Yeah. Okay. And talking of technological advances, if we can't rely on the government, we can rely on our phones, especially Apple phones, of course. But there is a development, an experiment taking place in the USA where a phone can detect when you've been drinking over the driving limit. Your phone can tell from your gait whether you should be driving or not. Big Brother is watching you. So if your phone says you've been drinking too much, you don't drive. Now, it's only experiment at the moment, but
The problem,
There's this thing called the off.
the problem with these things, the government always say,
right. I got two voices at the same time there. John, what did you say between?
I said there's this thing called an off button. Yeah. So you can turn your phone off. So what good is that?
Peter. Right.
well, the thing is, just now you can go and get a self-breathalyzer kit. I will never need one, but people use them anyway because they'll still drink and drive. I've got to tell you, when I started drinking non-alcoholic lager, I went out in my car, this for a few years back, and a guy came out and he says, "You're away to drive?" I says, "I know." He says, You've been drinking all night?" I says, "I know." "Do you notice what I was drinking?" "Non-alcoholic lager." So there's always somebody watching you. I said, "Was you going to clap on me?" That's the same word as grass.
Okay. And what is it to celebrate in Stoke this week, Stephen? Right. Well, Stephen's thinking, John, there must be something in Solihull.
Well, we had an event on Sunday. The bridge over the M42. They put the bridge in for the HS2 line. So the M42 was closed for 10 hours on Sunday while they slid the bridge into place.
Did that
Largest waste of money ever known to man, the HS2.
It's giving work to people. Stephen, best thing in Stoke this week. Still struggling. Over to Peter. In Aberdeen, despite the lockdown, Peter, what's been the highlight of the week?
There's nothing really to celebrate in Aberdeen at the moment.
Right.
It's a case of survival of the fittest, and people are starting to lose their jobs. But there's one girl I know who's really done so. One girl you need to look up, Laura Ripley. She's one of my Facebook friends. She's lost her job in the oil, got another one. She set up her own web page with her CV, and she does some strange things. And now she didn't like it. I've left oil, and she got a job with that train set people. I forgot Hattons. Is that Hattons? Train set people, and I thought, and that is a lassie that really excelled in getting another job, and a big drop in money too. So there you go. Well done to Laura Ripley.
No, still got nothing. Oh God.
Oh, well, I'll tell you something.
Okay. No,
that one's that go in your ear twiddle because it gives me earache.
Right now, this I can resonate with what Rick is saying. So yes, they had a conversation about earwax. Didn't search or read online. Now got ads online for that very item. Yeah. Everything you do is being monitored. Everything.
You are not alone, Ricky. You are not alone. And across,
I'm looking for a new van.
Everybody.
I've been inundated with van adverts.
Nothing earwax adverts.
Right. Okay. John, how is
Trish? Yeah, she's okay. Thanks. So she's not having to shelter any longer. So, yeah, it's out and about. She keeps going to our daughters regularly now. She went yesterday, so she could go and play with her granddaughter. So, yeah, fine. She's no better health-wise, and she's no worse. So, here's what it is.
Right, so we've managed to get the Trumpless program, which is quite an achievement, really.
So you've said it twice.
I said the less.
There's degrees.
Okay, anything left on our menu today? Oh, right, just so as we know, the owner Sports Direct says that things are getting back to normal. Okay, and well, they're not. They never will. But his shops are returning somewhat to normal.
What was his name? This man. What was his name?
His name was Sports Direct is.
Come on.
Yeah, he's on television so much it wasn't true. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ashley.
That's it.
Ashley.
Yeah. So
Mike Ashley.
Ashley.
Mike.
Yeah.
So,
for a man that gets vilified, he's kept people in jobs.
Right. And the big news of the week is
mention his name in Newcastle. That's all you got to do.
Big news of the week is that Amazon and Morrisons are trialing that you can order online, and your food, if you're on Amazon Prime, your food will be delivered to your doorstep by Amazon for free. So delivery charges.
There's been stickers in our Morrisons for absolutely ages.
Sorry,
probably Amazon on them.
Fresh food.
It's
everything.
Okay.
Everything.
So anything, fish and chips, and they'll deliver fish and chips, will they?
If Morrisons, or if it can come from the cafe, then yeah, I dare say.
Oh, Morrisons are doing the 50% off up to £10, but they're doing it 5 days a week, not 3 days a week.
You can go in, you can get 2 bacon baps and 2 coffees for £3. That has got to be the bargain of the week.
Yeah, I'll give that one.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. And it's Morrison's quality as well. John, it's over to you.
Oh, God, what have I done now? Oh, it's that time already. Well, that hour went quick, didn't it? Delivered with the drone. Well, if it's Morrison stuff, it'll be too heavy for a drone. It's that time. So it's goodbye from the man up in Scotland, whose football team are being allowed to play tonight. It's goodbye from Stoke City man on my right or left or wherever, who have been buying old men for the last 3 weeks to put in their football team because their manager says it needs some older people to give it maturity. And then it's goodbye from my friend who's in Venice, in Wiltshire.
See what shall I do?
Otherwise known as Devizes, with the longest bank of locks in England. And then it's goodbye from me in the poppy fields of Solihull. We'll see you all this time next week. Bye-bye.
If I can find the button. That's a wrap.